And so the one thing that I really want to reiterate, especially to people that have been through things similar to what I went through, is knowing God and knowing He loved me did not erase what had happened. It didn't erase the trauma, but it gave me a truth to walk through it. He didn't abandon me, that it wasn't a punishment, but it didn't it didn't take away my humanness and the things that I, still deal with. So I think that's important because I never want to give the impression that I came back perfect and have no problems and never cry and never worry and never still have to deal with ramifications from memories, right? So,
I think that's one of the ironies, Crystal, for many who are trying to understand those of us who have died and experienced the Lord, and that is that who we are in our spiritual state before God in heaven or the gates of heaven is different than who we are coming back in the flesh, where we have to go through the battles and the memories and all of these things because the book of Revelation of the Bible talks about there will be no crying and no there will be joy and none of those things that are causing so many trials and sufferings, which, as you shared, is one of the compelling reasons why you didn't want to leave, because you were freed
no,
of that. But
no
you're
negativity.
no
There was
negativity.
no negativity there. Everything made sense, a perfection that I've just never understood, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, this is so important because you have a story that is going to minister to many, many people, Crystal. I know, because we receive thousands of messages from people who are going through horrendous trials, many trials of abuse. I don't think people understand
No,
how endemic abuse is in our
right.
world and how
Because
common it
we
is.
we are programmed. I was programmed, and what I found was with other survivors to believe that you are the only one, that
Mm.
nobody will believe you, they will blame you. You already blame yourself. And what I found after this experience and through the avenues that God would lead me, working with women, specifically women that are in the adult entertainment industry or in
Mm.
sex trafficking. So he led me through that. And I find that the majority, such a majority of my beautiful girls have experienced exactly what I experienced. And then you look at statistics, I think say 1 in 3 women will have a sexual assault by the age of 18, 1 in 20 boys, but that's because it's just not reported as much in males. And then you look at the other statistic that 1 in 4 women will have an abortion in their lifetime. So these are things that we feel so alone in, yet 1 in 3 people around us, 1 in 4
Mm.
people. And so that's what's been really important to me is to go back with the truth. And I think that that's why I use my story. And I say, replace that little girl that I saw with you. Replace that little girl with Randy. Whatever you have to do to see him. And I don't fully understand everything. There are times we go through life, right? Like you still have to have trials. My husband is a army vet who suffers with PTSD, who went inpatient 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years ago this month. After contemplating taking his life, you're talking about two people that ministered, that one of which has laid at the feet of God, and you would think that everything would be wonderful and perfect, right? But
Mm.
it's not. The only difference is that I knew God was there, which actually, if I'm going to be honest, kind of made me mad because I said, going through that when my husband had to leave the first night, I remember crying and I said, when I went through all of this before, I didn't know if you were there. And I said, but what really hurts me is now I do know that you're real.
Mm,
Where are you?
mm,
Talk to me.
mm.
Help me. Give me this comfort, right? And I just felt like not a lot. And I felt one word just whisper through my spirit. And he said, soften. And 3 years later, we're building a brand new house. And when we went to see it for the first time, I looked at the street name, and the street name is Preserve. And when you look up the definition of preserve, it says to keep from decay, to keep from being destroyed. So I tell people he does talk to us. It's just not always in the way that I want him to.
Your message that I want you to speak to, if you would, right now, or to the people that are watching this who have been scarred, abused, whether it be sexual, whether it be somebody telling them that they're no good, whether it be somebody who's been rejected, maybe a job or something of that kind. And if you could speak to them right now, that life, that love of God that He imparted to you, so that they wouldn't take their life, because we have had people, a number of them, who said, I'm done. I'm ready to do myself in at this point.
And I understand being in that state of despair. And so I do think that that's why it's so important that we share, that the people that have had experiences, because as you said, we come back, we share, we're not fully believed, and not just outside of the Christian realm, but even inside of our own faith circle, it's not always believed. And so what I say is, I can't make a non-believer believe any more than you could make me not believe. And so what I try to do is let him shine through us in the work that we do and the way that we love. Because when we love others, we're loving him, and we're showing, in essence, you're filling him. And so what I would say is, in those moments that you feel alone, go back to any little part of this story, but in the parts where he showed that he never left, that he's there for all of it, that he does not cause it. Every prayer is answered, but the majority of mine were not yet or no, because he sees more. He has the whole tapestry of your life laid out. He sees what he's going to do with you because you're going to say yes to life instead of giving up. He sees the avenues that you're going to go into because you said, I'm going to keep going, or I'm going to try. Had we given up, look at what we would have missed.
Mm.
And my husband will say that, and he'll say, I would have missed all of this. I didn't want to come back here. I chose to stay. My kids are turning 13. I've had 12 years of birthdays and hugs and memories. But Randy, I've also had tears and hurt and pain, and it doesn't make it perfect, but I would have missed that all. I'm a country girl. I'm from Oklahoma, and it reminds me of the Garth Brooks song, The Dance, where he says, looking back, I wouldn't have changed a thing because I would have missed it all. And that's what I would say. You cannot see, when you're in the despair and the pain and the darkness, the beauty that you're going to miss.
Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. And if you'd like further information, go to our website at randyk.org, where our mission is simple: to share the great news of God's love.